Hello, I am Bente Jeta. I am right here in South African Embassy in Addis Ababa. The attention of the world is going to be on South Africa for the next 2 days, and I'm here to make an interview with His Excellency, Mr. Ambassador. Let's see what's going to say. Mr. Ambassador, congratulations, you are hosting this big event. Congratulations, first of all.
Yes.
We are starting as questions. Some 6 years back, when South Africa was announced that they were going to host this big event, there was some doubts that there are some saying that South Africa is not going to host this. Did you share some ideas? Did you fear uncertainty at that time?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, I must say that we want to thank the world, we want to thank FIFA, we want to thank those who made it happen, that South Africa, on behalf of the continent itself, is going to host this great and huge event. Of course, when South Africa started to bid for this event, and I think certain fundamentals as a country we had, and of course more than anything else, the greatest element of course was the fact that our continent for more than 100 years had been overlooked, and therefore taking into account all those elements, South Africa from the very onset had been ready psychologically, had been ready to take up the challenge. And therefore, one understands the concerns of others, genuine concerns about the ability to host that event. But at that stage, one should be aware that although South Africa was younger than it is now, a young democracy, it had already hosted a number of events, and events of a global nature, international nature, and those events had indeed been hosted by South Africa very, very successfully. People tend to forget that as early as 1995, South Africa had then hosted the World Rugby, which of course was crowned by the victory that came out of that World Cup. And this came, of course, as a result of the determination of our people in all the preparations. But apart from that event, we had hosted a international cricket event, which is in itself is a huge sports activity. And we then followed to also host the Africa Cup of Nations. And that's a pride of our continent. So in a way, I think we had crossed some of the psychological barriers that would say to us, wait. And we thought also the eagerness to host this event, and some of the fundamentals that we have in our country, in terms of our economy, in terms of the events that we had hosted. I mean, for example, United Nations itself in 2002 had decided that the World Sustainable Development Activity would take place in South Africa. And that in itself had brought thousands of people from all over the globe. And this took place in Durban. So in a way, I think South Africa had some points on the table, had an edge amongst even other competitors in terms of the ability to host. And of course, as I say, there were genuine concerns. And sometimes some concerns were not genuine. People who would pretend that these events had not taken place in South Africa or had not taken place in the continent itself. Those were some of the concerns that people have. But I think really, I'm glad to say, in less than 60 hours now, it's like a dream for the continent. It's like a dream for the developing countries that almost in more than 100 years that this event is about to take place. And one just needs to peep and check the mood in South Africa, the expectation in Africa, the anticipation by the world of this great event. And no doubt the executives of FIFA already are satisfied. And I think already this for us as South Africans is already a success for us, for Africa, that people now are going to converge and are already there, whether they like it or not, in the interest of World Soccer Cup.
The world knows that South Africa has already built a magnificent stadium, sporting centers, everything is ready to die. And what does this convey to the world actually when it is prepared by Africans?
No, I think really it would be overestimating the amount of work that took place. From the 2004, when this was given to South Africa, it was given to Africa. It's quite clear that already in each of our provinces in South Africa, we had a football ground, So I think really it's not true to say we're like going to start from the desert. We're going to start from the green fields. What had happened really, we had to upgrade some of the facilities that we have to meet the FIFA standards, to meet the criteria of FIFA, to meet the designs of FIFA, taking into account a holistic picture in terms of the global demands. And of course, I must say, there are 6 stadia that have been built from scratch. And this meant a massive capital investment. It meant, of course, a lot of determination on the part of our workers in South Africa, on the part of the South African people themselves, the determination to meet all the deadlines. So I think really I am happy that as early as last year, I had been to South Africa. In a way, the Cup of Nations, which is a rehearsal for the great event itself, took place in South Africa without difficulties, without challenges. And therefore, 48 hours from now, we are ready. And the keys have been given to FIFA. And we say, let the boys get into the field.
Okay, South Africa is the first foot to hold such a big event in Africa. And we are expecting something. Do you think really that the other African countries can repeat the same success in international events?
I am sure the appetite of all our countries in the continent is going to be whetted. I am sure the success of this World Cup, which I declare as a success already before the ball has been kicked, will create conditions for many more international events to be hosted. I have no doubt that as soon as we finish this soccer world great event, that we will have to have a look at the Olympics themselves, the international Olympics themselves, which have never been hosted into this continent, and I think it's something that has to happen. After this World Cup in South Africa, we're going to have it in Brazil, and 2 years later, Brazil is going to host the International Olympics. Why not Africa? I'm sure we've got these possibilities.
That's very nice. Some group of people, like Danny Jordan, the local committee organizer, is saying that this World Cup has a positive impact on the socio-economic potentiality of the South Africans. Investors are coming to South Africa. Do you believe this statement?
I think that statement is even more than true. I am a South African. I know the kind of infrastructure that we have. I have been at home in the last 3 months. It's just amazing. It's a spectacle. It's a showpiece. The infrastructure development that has taken place as a result of this World Cup. And infrastructure is linked to the economy. This will boost the economy. It will increase the GDP of our country. This will increase tourism in South Africa. It will increase tourism into Africa. So in my mind, I have no difficulties at all to agree, even more than agree with the statement that has been made by the CEO, Danny Jordan. If you look at the airports, the airports, the International Oliver Regional Tambo Airport in South Africa today, it's world class. If you look at the airports now, if you look at the telecommunication systems, if you look at the rail itself, there's a new rail, it's called Gautrain. That rail has been opened. It's ready between Sandton and Johannesburg to be ferrying the tourists, to be ferrying the sports lovers, to be ferrying people. And of course, it will soon be ready, the same rail for Johannesburg to Pretoria. And we're going to look beyond that. And all these elements are linked to our economy. And the labor in South Africa, the people who have been skilled in terms of the creation of our stadiums, the construction of our stadium, those skills, they're going to live with those skills forever. So this has created jobs already, some of them directly, some of them indirectly. And of course, people with their crafts, the hospitality industry, the hotels. I mean, in the last six to 8 years, new hotels have popped up in South Africa. This is very, very, very good for the economy, for the jobs, for the skills of people. I have no doubt. This in itself will contribute to Africa itself, because South Africa is not an island. It's part of Southern Africa. It's part of this continent, its economy. And that is why we're here in Addis Ababa.
Which African team do you think will be the serious contender of this tournament?
You know, I like football. I want to say to you, we have 32 teams. Each of those teams have the possibility, have the probability to win the World Cup. You have the Brazilians who have won this thing 5 times. And I'm glad that they've been in South Africa and they were among the first to go there to acclimatize. Even themselves, I don't think they can climb on stage and say they're going to win the World Cup. I think it's going to be a fierce competition. People talk about the group of danger. I don't think there's any group which is not difficult. Each game will be as important as 90 minutes, and it will be decided in 90 minutes. South Africa, during the Cup of Nations, they surprised a lot of people. When they played against Spain, when they played against America, when they played against Brazil itself, to reach that level. Now, if you watch football and you saw the friendly games, in their last friendly game, they beat Denmark, which is rated around number 30 in the world. And they won most of their games. They never lost any game. So I think the determination, the preparation, the vibe in South Africa itself. If you go to South Africa, every Friday everybody is wearing yellow jersey. It's called Football Fridays. And the spirit amongst our people, this will boost our own team. So themselves, they have a chance in terms of the conditions that prevail in our continent. And if you look at what happened in South Korea, the hosts were not given a chance. And they went all the way. If you look into America when they were hosting, they were not given a chance. They went all the way. If you looked the last one, the Germany when they were hosting, they were not given a chance. They went all the way. So the African teams, we have got 6 teams in Africa that were all betting on. All of them have a chance. And the first round determines for every team in that first round, be it an African team, an Asian team, and Latin American team, and any other team. It depends on the first 3 points that you put in your pocket. And we wish all our African teams the best. We wish Bafana the best. And I think they can do it. And all they need is determination. And all they need is to die in their boots for their own people, for the African continent.
Good luck.
Mr. Joseph Manuel Barrasso,
European Commission President praised the host country and hoped to see the beautiful games from South Africa.
In fact, in a couple of days, the eyes of the world will be on the African continent for the start of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. I'm particularly pleased that it is for the first time that an African nation hosts the World Cup. This has, of course, a very powerful meaning that goes beyond the world of sport. I am sure we will see one of the most entertaining tournaments with free-flowing football and, I hope, with fair play. And I hope that we see the massive progress that African nations have made in being a real force in the beautiful game. This beautiful game in which we can connect people from Europe to Latin America, to Africa, to Asia, to all parts of the world. This can be, if played with fair play, indeed a way of communicating and understanding that we all belong to the same kind of people with aspirations, with dreams, and with the idea of self-fulfillment. Football is more than a sport. It is a universal language, a language that helps people from different cultures and backgrounds to unite, and it is above all about hope. The World Cup is a perfect opportunity for the whole African continent to showcase its talent and prosperous future. Let's make that a big success for Africa and also for global cooperation.
And this is not... Yeah. Okay, thank you. Sure. Thank you.